Welcome back to Find 'em, Fix 'em, Race 'em. We're going to be doing some steering bearings today. Should be pretty easy, I hope. Nothing too overly hard, but yeah, the steering bearings were kind of bad. And then I'll show you there was also an issue with the actual aluminum sleeve that goes in the frame. So I'll take you guys along on the ride, and we'll put those in pretty quick. This is what we got today. This is called a Set 14. It is a L44643 and a L44610 race. It's Timken bearings. I got them on the Jungle website. They're about 18 bucks for the set, which is pretty cheap considering I think locally I was going to pay 19 bucks just for the bearing. They're Timken. They're made in the United States. There's basically the same bearing that came out of it. So we're going to put the race in first. Hopefully, if all goes well. So obviously it just goes in like so. Tapered part in. I mean, I guess in theory you could put it in backwards, but yeah, just goes like that. So you just want to make sure it's pretty squared up. I mean, it's always seems like it'll go in there a little cattywampus at the beginning, but give it a tap. Ooh, that went in pretty straight. Oh, yeah, that went in nice. You kind of hear the change in the sound when it went in. It actually went in really nice. It should be in there all the way. Just want to make sure it's pretty square in and about the same distance, but I mean, it feels like it's the... So that was easy. That was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. Now, this sleeve came out, and it's not supposed to. I think what happened is when it's in like this, there's a little lip where that bearing goes, and they were pounding on that instead of pounding on the actual bearing race. Because the first good hit I gave it from the inside, it actually moved the bearing race, and then the second hit, it pushed it out. I could feel the whole thing turning inside, even though it was all, I could feel this, the aluminum sleeve turning inside, which led me to be like, oh, I don't know. And then I decided I was going to replace the bearings because they didn't get very tight. And then when I took the bearing out, this came out. This is not supposed to come out. It's supposed to be a non-removable part. But obviously, I think it had been replaced, the bearing had been replaced more than once, or at least once, and this came out when it came out. So I'm going to try to get this seated in there. There is a ridge in here that it seats against, which I was going to, I believe this one probably has a ridge too. I can't really tell, but I assume it does. I assume you just pound it in until it hits the ridge. So what I'm going to attempt to do is kind of get it where it's not just going in super easy. It's kind of got a little resistance, and maybe that will keep it from spinning in there, but you know, who knows, to be honest. It doesn't look like it's going all that straight. hear it change noise. Feels like it's up against her the whole way. Looks pretty straight. Our other bearing race. I don't know if these are a match set, but I guess I could. I doubt they are, but I will just, for the sake of anyone out there, I guess, I'll just put a B on this. That's the bottom. That way this bearing goes with that race. And hopefully this will go in fairly easy, but it seemed like when someone had put this race in before, they had really messed this aluminum sleeve up. It's kind of not round anymore, and you can see they had jammed it in there and got it all cockeyed. So we'll see how it's gonna go. I don't know. Wow, that went in there super easy. I'm a little concerned about how easy that went in. But yeah, see, yeah, that's just not right. Would you just come out? I mean, you're in there all cattywampus. I don't understand why you won't come out. Why? I just don't want it to go flying when it comes out, but there we go. So now I guess I gotta pound the sleeve back out, because that's, you know, probably won't come out now. There's not much of a lip. I mean, it wasn't really designed to be taken out, but crud. I don't think you can just pound it from the inside because of that lip. Oh, no, you can. Yeah. There's the largest lip in the world. Sorry about the light in the face. Yeah. Throw that on the ground. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, well, that's out. So 2 steps, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. It's the same thing with this bike at all times. So yeah, it's just this part. I guess it looks like maybe that part had just been walking around in there because it was loose, and it just wore this surface out, so it's super loose. The weird thing is it just doesn't go in perfectly, you know, easy. Oh yeah, it does. So yeah, that's definitely wore out. I mean, the upper one went in pretty easy, but it's certainly not sliding around and moving around. I mean, the upper went in easier than I would have thought it would have gone in, but I don't think it's a problem. I don't think it's moving around in any form. But yeah, this one's wore out. So now comes the question, do I steal the one out of that one? Which is an option, I guess, because I have it here. I could steal one of the things out of this poor bike, which is just the sacrificial bike of the century at this point. I mean, I just keep stealing parts off of it, and I'm gonna have to replace them, and it's just gonna be going cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. You need this, you need that, you need this, you need that. This morning I pulled the steering head sleeve, aluminum sleeve, out of this bike. It was pretty tight. Both where the bearing race goes into the sleeve was tight, and where it fit into the bike was tight. Now this particular bike here, this bottom steering here is, I think, spread out a little bit or worn a little bit, because I was able to push that sleeve that was super tight and the other one halfway in before it caught. But I have that inner sleeve in the freezer, try to shrink it up a little bit, so hopefully it'll let it go in there a little bit easier. And then we'll go ahead and pound the race in and get the race put in there, and then get the bearings and hopefully get the front end on this bike today. Hopefully, we'll see how it goes. So I'll bring you along. Here we go. I'm going to be using brake clean as a lubricant, because when it evaporates, it's no longer a lubricant. And I want to make sure that's in there as tight as it can be, but I don't know how easy it's going to be able to slide it up in there. And there's a little ridge around the outside of that aluminum sleeve for the O-ring to go in, and I don't want to break that off. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go grab the sleeve. Sounds good. That looks square. Made that nice solid kunk 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 sound, so I don't think it went anywhere. It looks like it's in there nice and square. Fairly tight. It wasn't super hard to get it in there, but definitely tighter than the other one was. Well, hopefully this will just pound right in there pretty easy and fairly straight. Good. And it's not very good at all. That's not straight, even remotely straight. There we go. There we go. Ooh, straight back in. You managed to drive that thing in about as cattywampus as a person could. I think that's all the way in. So now, in theory, we have the steering head has a race in there that's not going to spin around, and a sleeve that isn't all worn out, that's tight in the frame, so hopefully this won't break the frame off and break the front of the bike off when I land off a jump. That would be nice. Of course, I greased this all up because I thought I was putting it on for the last time. There's no such thing as the last time with this bike. There's always another time where you're going to be taking it apart. That's what I found. Never grease anything, because You think you're done, but you're not. But the interesting thing is on this steering stem, and I don't know if this is common as well, or if this is worn out, but this bearing is supposed to be pressed on, and it just slides right off. So, but it doesn't go the whole way. Hits right there. My thought was I could just take this. Oh, it's just not quite long enough. I can go this way though. Maybe. I was hoping I could just get it. Yeah, not really. I don't know if I can just do this. Oh, that was pretty easy. So that came off pretty easy. So I cut a piece of magnesium pipe. It's kind of soft because it's magnesium, but it's the right diameter to go over here and push on the bearing in the right place. It's not perfectly square at the top where I hacked it with a hacksaw, probably why it's called a hacksaw, but I think it'll work, hopefully. So you want to make sure you put on your, this is like a dust cover that the O-ring rides on, and your thrust washer on first. Where's my bearing? Get your bearing out. Put that on there. Probably put a little grease on the shaft, I guess, to help slide, but I don't think it really makes much of a difference. Actually, I probably don't want it down there because I want it to be tight, so I may use brake clean and clean that up, but let's just see. Give it a little, maybe even use the smalls, this, like this. Why is it being so tight? There it goes, and then right down. That's what I thought it was going to do. So at the bottom, it's not very tight. I'm not 100% sure why. I've never seen a bearing that's that loose at the bottom, but I'll just give it a little love tap while it's down at the bottom. And then yeah, I mean, that's just the way it goes. It's not very tight, I guess. I mean, they say in the manual that you have to press it on or press it off, but that's the right bearing, the right race, so I don't really know, but it's on there. What I like to do is just get a big dab of grease, like yay, and take it and just kind of work it into the bearing. Top race. spoogie off your hands. Just the thrust washer goes over the top. Okay, just get to put that in there. Got our lower bearing on, we got our upper bearing on. We just need to get our O-rings in here. Which one's which? Hopefully these O-rings will work. Lower. Upper O-rings in here. Got the thrust washer on there. Just need to get our upper piece and this piece. So on this, you want to put this so this beveled piece is facing up, not the flat side, but the beveled piece faces up. So got the O-rings in there. Guess I could put a little grease on here, just for, you know, in cases. So the O-ring has something to slide on. So this should just go up through here. Oh, no, you want to make sure you have it turned the right way. So it goes toward, the forks are toward the front. And let's go right through there. O-ring's still on there. O-ring's on there. Now you are supposed to seat these bearings. They say you're supposed to do 50 foot-pounds or something. I don't have the thing to fit on this to be able to torque it. So I am just going to tighten it up quite a bit. And then tighten it up, seat it, and then back it off. And that's tight. I think that should be tight enough to seat it. You just want to have it tight enough where it's smooth and we have no movement on this bearing at all. Obviously you can adjust this once the forks are on. Feels way better than it did, that's for sure. And those O-rings aren't putting a bunch of drag, but I mean, you couldn't get this lower part tight. You could tighten this until you couldn't tighten it anymore, and you could still get movement out of this bottom because that brace and that bearing cup or whatever it is, sleeve was just so worn out. There's no way to get the slop out of it. But the slop's pretty much out of it now, so that's good. I think that'll work. Big nut. A bolt. This is a bolt. Pretty sure that's called a bolt. Yeah. Bolt was the washer. Goes up here. using an 1 1/8" socket on this, but obviously it's metric, but an 1 1/8 works. You got an 1 1/8 around. It's tightening up when it isn't even against the washer. That's interesting. Just because that washer wasn't centered. It's obviously somehow pinching the washer because the washer won't move, but it isn't all the way down, so I'm not 100% sure how that's working that way. Don't extend. It doesn't make any sense. Is that not tightening up? Ooh. That thread is beat up. Bad. It's like missing a thread. I guess I gotta look at the other one and see if the other one's got a better thread than that. I don't remember if this is the nut, which one of these nuts it came off of, but yeah, it's missing the threads right off a big chunk of this bolt. So maybe I'll try taking the other one off, which means I have to take the handlebars off that, which means I have to put it on the stand, which means yada yada yada. So yeah. So 3 steps backward, no steps forward, 3 steps back. Is that how it goes? I don't know. With this bike, it's how it goes.